going to be reading about scary stories that people have experienced after using a Ouija board. No, dude, porque la neta, a Ouija board is something that I will never fuck with. My worst fear would be turning into Regan. Si ya tengo el fleco, imagínate. My next video, I'll be like, hi guys, welcome. Ay, no, no manches. No, pero neta, if you have played with a Ouija board, I don't know how you did it, because I've heard from friends and family that people had some crazy experiences. And I'm just like, yo con eso no me meto. Some people believe it's just a game, while others believe it's more than that. Yeah, honestly, I don't fuck with that. Damn, her great-grandmother was down as fuck to be playing that. This story isn't scary in the conventional way. No ghost will be showing up, and no one gets murdered. It's scary in the maybe these things really are real kind of way. And it's all true, so there's that. My great-grandmother was pretty normal. She loved to make crafts, went to bingo every week, and drove a giant station wagon, even though she could barely see over the dash. One thing that I always thought was strange, however, is that she had a Ouija board. Not one of those new ones that you can find in toy stores. They even come in glow-in-the-dark now, but this one was old. She was born in 1908. For all I know, the board was as old as she was, and it looked like if it had been used a lot. I remember the first time she let us use it. She showed us how to hold our fingers on it, how you have to push the pointer around in big broad circles while you ask the question. I remember using it with my sister, and the experience was probably just like everyone else's. Using a Ouija board, asking questions like, are you a D? What's your name? Are you dead? And arguing over who was actually moving the piece around to various letters. We were sure that it was just the other person moving it. Nothing scary happened. No D word showed up. It was all very normal, boring, right? Anyway, there are two instances where I thought to myself, maybe this is something I shouldn't be messing with. My great-grandmother apparently used the Ouija board by herself, not something a 90-year-old woman just does just for fun. She actually talked to it, saying things like, come on, I know you can hear me. One day, my great-grandma's daughter, parentheses, lost her keys and couldn't find them anywhere. She was on the phone with my great-grandma, who lived an hour away, and mentioned that she couldn't find them. Oh, no problem, my grandma said. I'll just ask my Ouija board where they're at. My grandma thought nothing of this. Well, she called my great-grandma later and told her, Ouija says they are under the couch. Just to humor her, my grandma looked under the couch. There were the keys. The other time I started to think that maybe there is some truth to a Ouija board is one day when my cousin and her friend were messing around with it. They decided to ask it a question that they wouldn't know the answer to, so that neither of them could cheat. My sister had them ask what her ex-boyfriend's middle name was, something that neither of them had any way of knowing. Sure enough, it spelled out his middle name. My cousin thought it was funny, but my sister and I were a little freaked out. Hope that someone out there enjoys reading these. Yes, I did. Because I know that these stories, I myself don't know what I believe about Ouija boards. But sometimes you can't deny what's right in front of you, you know? Ay, no mames, entonces la Ouija encontró las llaves. That's crazy. Okay, but seriously, Ouija boards are already scary as is. But imagine the old ones. Dude, I bet they look so scary. Someone commented, you know what's really freaky and fucking stupid? I worked at Toys R Us for a bit. And I kid you not, they sell the fucking things there. They even come in pink. A pink Ouija board. Now, I mean, hey, maybe they don't work, maybe they do, but they shouldn't sell them in a kid's store. It isn't a toy. Obviously, this comment is really old. It's actually 11 years old. But dude, when Toys R Us was a thing, I remember going to the board game aisle with my sister, and we would get so scared when we would see the Ouija board. And it is pretty fucking crazy that they have a glow-in-the-dark one, a pink one, and Stranger Things actually had a collab with a Ouija board. I remember I saw it. I looked at the reviews and baby, I regret that so bad because they were fucking crazy. I always think about them because I was so curious. I was like, who buys these? And I looked them up and I started looking a ver qué ponía la gente. You know what? Let me show you. I need to show you guys right now because you guys are my friends and like, dude, I just need to share this with you. Ouija board Stranger Things. Okay, yeah. So look, this is the collab that they had. Se los voy a poner aquí. It has 4.5 stars and 856 reviews. There was a specific one que me dejó traumada, dude, but I don't know if I could find it. Ay, no mames. I think I fucking found it. Okay, I found one, but there was a worse one. It says, be careful, this thing really works. I bought this for my teenage daughter, and the house has not been the same since. Door slamming in the middle of the night for no reason. Keys getting moved from where I left them. I would complain, but I received so many answers to my life questions from the spirit world. I never knew the spirit world was so intimately involved in human affairs. Simply amazing. And to think it's just a sticker on a board. Who knew? This was so much fun to play with. My son wanted it for his birthday just so he can summon the great dark lord. Ay, no mames. I don't think it worked, but he hasn't been the same since. Haha. I just saw there's a Wednesday one and a Beetlejuice one. What the fuck? I'm speechless right now. There's one of The Exorcist. I'm done. I'm so done. I am so done. So I literally tried to look for the comment everywhere and I couldn't find it. I think they deleted the product from whatever website it was in. But let me just tell you what the comment said. So it said something about, this thing actually works. My friend is now walking on the walls of my house in 4 legs. Oh my god, and it also said that it turned into, ¿cómo se dice? Una acrobata? I know, that's fucking scary, bro. And that his head was spinning and that he was talking in different languages. No, dude, it said so much shit. I remember I told my brother and he started cracking up. Which honestly, he was like, dude, like that was a joke. But no. Talking about boards from back in the day, look at this one, guys. It's from the 1950s. And this person said, just bought this 1950s vintage Ouija board. People in the comments are telling him to be careful with that. I wonder where he got it from. Imagine he got it from a thrift store. No, dude, because buying a Ouija board at a thrift store, like, that would be so creepy. I was at the mall with my best friend when I saw a Ouija board. She told me not to get it. So I ordered a mini one online. It came and I played it twice, but nothing talked to me at all. So I was very rude and said, F you. Big mistake. Because I didn't believe in the board. A few days or so later, I had a vivid nightmare that was realistic. In my first nightmare, I was scared and didn't sleep all day until daylight. Then I started seeing things, scary things. I told my best friend, who asked if I had played one. I admitted. She said I had a spirit stuck to me and I needed to find a priest. I was terrified. I didn't want to get possessed and I wanted this thing to go away. Now, earlier tonight, I was on my way home from the gym, taking my best friend home too, of course. And I started talking about a case of possession that I liked. The case of Annalise Mitchell. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing it, by the way. Annalise Mitchell. And showed him a picture of her before and after. Then the D appeared in the road. Shut the fuck up. Oh my god, I'm literally so scared. Goofy, come here. I need Goofy here. Mi vida, aquí acuéstate. He was in the master bedroom asleep. Alright, so she said that the thing appeared on the road. It was human-like, gray, and glowing. I also had been seeing black, lanky shadow figures, as well as just shadows in general. My hands were like ice blocks, but my face felt like it was 105 degrees. I started panicking and it wouldn't leave me alone. And she saw it too. We stopped at a church and tried to get rid of it. It wouldn't leave. I took her home and every time I closed my eyes, I would see glowing grayish purple eyes. She said it was a sign of possession, as she was possessed 3 years ago. I panicked more. Then I got home. It's like 5:40. I get to my grandma's room and I tell her about it. How I played with a Ouija board and I was rude because nothing was answering me and pissed off a spirit and it attached to me. And she did some religious stuff and now my temp is normal. I'm not pale, I'm not sick, and I feel better. Like it's gone for now. On the other hand, my best friend is still dealing with it. She said it was in her room and made her cross necklace heat up. I don't know if I have to face it again when I leave my house. I don't know if it's left me alone for good. I guess we'll find out. This happened to me when I was in high school. I was at my friend's house at the time, who lived in an apartment building. She had a neighbor who lived upstairs and was a few years younger than us, who we hung out with when I visited my friend's apartment. On this specific day, my friend's neighbor mentioned that she had a Ouija board and asked if we wanted to use it with her. We both agreed, as I personally didn't think Ouija boards were actually paranormal and thought it was a myth. We went into the garage area of the apartment building and put our fingers on it. For the first few hours, nothing really eventful happened. Eventually, we had movement and started asking questions to this spirit who would answer us. I forgot who, but someone asked if the spirit was trying to communicate with any of us. Interestingly enough, it spelled out my name. I was skeptical and thought it was one of my friends messing with me. So I asked what its name was. It then spelled out my grandmother's name, who died 6 months before this Ouija board encounter. I started getting a little uncomfortable, as my grandmother's name is in another language, and my friends did not know this language, nor have I ever told them what her name was. They wouldn't even know how to spell it either. Weirded out, I asked what my grandmother wanted. She started spelling out URGR and then started going in weird circles and even going off the board and was not spelling out anything that made sense. So I asked for further clarification and then just said, "You are great." This will be important later, so just keep this in mind. Anyway, I just thought it was just us moving it weirdly and then said goodbye. A few days later, my grandmother's husband, my grandfather, suddenly passed away. It was unexpected, as he was in great health and was right before Christmas and was so excited for Christmas. As I was at his funeral, I remembered sitting there and thinking about the Ouija board. And that's when it hit me. When the Ouija board or my grandmother initially tried to spell out something that started with GR, I realized that grandfather starts with GR. But then it moved around weirdly when my grandmother couldn't spell out the rest of the word, as if something was stopping my grandmother from completing the word and warning me. The next few months was hell, as I started blaming myself and convinced that I somehow contributed to my grandfather's death by using this board. It got to the point that I became ill. And the scary part is, my thoughts felt as if it wasn't me. It felt as if something was trying to lead me to taking my life, as they were very dark. I can't explain it, as it might have been guilt, but I felt something was watching me all the time. And I felt a strange presence in the next few months after using the board. There is also the fact that the night of when I used the Ouija board, I was in the bathroom and I was underneath some lights. I had a strange feeling and felt that I needed to walk away. Right when I did, the lights shattered and would have injured me if I was standing underneath. I eventually confessed to my mother about the Ouija board experience. And right when I did, I felt a giant weight off my shoulders. The negative and dark thoughts were slowly disappearing, and I started to not feel the dark presence anymore when I overcame these thoughts. However, I was still wondering if the spirit I contacted to was even my grandmother. I also wondered if I was imagining this dark presence and the dark thoughts I had. Fast forward, I was at an overnight event at my school, and another friend brought a Ouija board. Puta madre, otra vez? No aprenden, dude. What kind of friends do these people have? I decided, no mames, no aprendió. No aprendió. She said, I decided to use it one more time with this friend and find some answers. Okay, so she wanted closure. At one point, the Ouija board said it was trying to contact me specifically. When we asked who it was, it started spelling out D-E-V. Dev? No mames. We started panicking, but then it spelled out to a word that I forgot. I dismissed it and I thought it was nothing. But my friend decided to look up the word. A few weeks later, she told me that the word meant devil in another language. Ay, no mames, se me durmió la pata. It was confirmed to me that it might not have been my grandmother who was contacting me the first time. There is also the fact that there may have been something that was trying to get to me, and it did not have good intentions. To this day, I am convinced that this spirit only tried to warn me about my grandfather, so that when he passed, I would have felt guilty. By feeling guilty, I was more vulnerable to this spirit's influences, to the point that I would almost take my life. I do not know if this is what actually happened, but it's the only logical explanation I have. Wow, dude, I can only imagine, because I feel like I would have felt guilty too. That sucks that she went through this. I'm not gonna lie, when she said that it's spelled U-R-G-R, I read a gur, and I just thought, Brinniger. Brinniger. Brin it. Britney, girl. That's me too goofy when he brings me toys. Ay, no, pero en serio, pobrecita, dude. I feel so bad. Imagine the guilt she felt. So I work at this bar. One of my coworkers thought it would be fun to get a Ouija board for customers to play with during spooky season. Yesterday, I was at work and let curiosity get the best of me. Let me preface that growing up, my mom told me to never touch one. Our family is sensitive to spirits. A story for another time. So I decided to never touch one. But last night, when the bar opened around 5, one of my regulars came in. He wouldn't touch the board. So I was like, fine, I'll do it. I put it on the empty space and it started moving. I was freaked out but kept calm. It automatically moved to G. I was confused why, so my regular Googled the rules of the game. So I ask if there are any spirits here. It says yes. I ask its name. And this is the weird part. It spells Quiz Crowersta. My regular, who is sitting by me but not touching the board, his name is Chris Crosta. I ask it some other stuff but get gibberish. I then ask how many spirits are there. It says 41. I ask if any are evil. It says yes. I ask when this particular spirit died. 1951. How old were you? 20. Where are you from? More gibberish. I ask, are you fucking with me? It moves to yes. I ask, if you're real, what's the name of this bar? It moves to BW, which is the initials of the bar. I ask what my regular childhood dog's name was. It says Cody. He says that's not correct. Okay, weird. Anyways, I said goodbye because bar started getting busy and I needed to work. I get home later and start telling my boyfriend about all of this. When I get to the part about a childhood dog being named Cody, he went silent and told me his childhood dog's name was Cody. So I don't know. I think I got a trickster of some sort. I don't feel threatened. I said a prayer and a protection prayer with sage when I got home. But yeah, interesting first experience. Anyways, just wanted to see what anyone's thoughts were. A person commented and said, was working overnight shift at a fast food restaurant once. We got a Ouija board and was asking questions. At one point, it spelled out pig to an unrelated question. About 30 seconds later, a police car drives around the building doing his rounds. It wasn't a very friendly cop, apparently. My great-grandma's ghost told my relatives to burn down her house. So they did. Here's how my mom tells it. In 1979, when my mother was 15 or 16, a large group of my extended family were gathered in my grandma's house in rural Iowa, where most of them live. They were there to discuss what was to be done with my recently deceased great-grandmother's house. You see, my great-grandmother hated the house, and so in the final 6 months of her life had built another house on the same plot of land, which I guess wasn't in accordance with state zoning laws. As any logical thinker would do, they decided to ask my great-grandmother herself, Ouija board in hand. The female members of the family walked out into the night to do their seance at her house, which was just down the dirt road from where they were. The house was built in the mid-19th century, had 6 bedrooms, was huge from what I can gather. However, it didn't have electricity, so they bought candles to light up the space. About half of the women in attendance were believers, with the other half being skeptics, which led to some frustration with the asking of the questions to the board. However, sometime in the night, the energy of the house totally changed. One of my aunts asked if Margaret was there. A piece of tinsel on the doorway began to swing like a pendulum. My mom's youngest brother had just celebrated his birthday. There were a few weeks earlier and the decorations were still up. It would be easy to say that the wind or atmospheric pressure could have accounted to this change. However, keep in mind that it was a large house, and the rooms surrounding the central living room acted as a wind block. It's also worthwhile to point out that the candles at no point flickered or went out. The movement continued with every question, back and forth like a pendulum. Finally, someone asked what was to be done with the house. The tinsel stopped moving altogether and began to violently move in the opposite direction. The tinsel stopped responding after that question, so they moved back to the board. No sooner had they done this when it spelled out a very simple message. B-U-R-N-T. Burnt. They hauled ass back home, called the volunteer fire department, and did just that. Oh my god, that's so crazy. To go as far as burning the house? I mean, hopefully that was actually the grandmother talking to them. That was very bold of them. For the land? Shit, fuck yeah. They would have been like, yo no voy a quemar ni madres. Están pendejos. Alright guys, so this is it for today's video. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Turn on your notifications so you can get notified for the next time I post. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye!